Is atheism a religion? Revisit it again. So I'm going to give my take on this at this point in time. I've made 2 previous videos on this, and I think I've failed to really express where I'm coming from. And I think I kind of nailed it in one of my comments sections for one of the videos. I think it was my second one. When I say that atheism is a religion, or some people say that atheism is a religion, what they mean is that atheism is kind of like, atheism comes along with, and it's not the term itself, it's not the definition, it's not the simple term that I'm talking about, it's not the simple philosophical distinction, right? It is the culture of atheism itself. Atheism has its own culture, and in the culture of atheism, there is a dogmatic element and an orthodoxy. And so that culture, I equate that culture of naturalism and universal common ancestry through the means of evolution as the orthodoxy. And anyone who doesn't believe it is stupid, and anybody who doesn't go along with it doesn't get to be an intellectual. And so that's kind of the dogmatism of it. And so yes, it is very much the same as a religion. There is a dogmatism to atheism. There is an orthodoxy of thought, of ideology in atheism. Although atheists will say, well, you're kind of free to think what you want in atheism because you don't have to believe in a God a certain way. But it's still dogmatic because you can't be accepted. You can't really be well accepted as an atheist if you are not. Go to a bunch of atheists and say, well, I don't believe in evolution, but I'm an atheist. And you go see what they say. You don't believe in God, but you don't believe in evolution either. Because that is the way that people explain things if they don't believe in God. You can walk up to 100 people on the street and just say, why don't you believe in God? And a lot of people will say, well, because there's evil in the world, right? But a lot of people will say, because I believe in evolution, right? Which is not necessarily, in pure philosophical terms, you can believe in a God who created the world and evolves the world. Like, it doesn't make any sense that you explicitly can't believe in God because of believing in evolution itself. I don't believe in evolution at a certain point. There's a certain point where I believe that evolution has its limitations. Like, I don't believe that, cats turned into monkeys, and then, monkeys kind of lost their tails and became apes, and then apes became human beings. I don't necessarily believe that. I believe that things reproduce after their own kind. So, I believe that cats can reproduce, and natural selection can make them bigger or smaller, but they're always going to be cats. Cats aren't going to turn into whales or something like that. Either way, I don't want to get too far into that, but just, atheists kind of get away with spreading their culture and their dogmatism by claiming that it's secular and that it's not religious. But dogmatism, basically anything that's dogmatic, is just basically akin to that which is religious. you can't really separate religion and dogmatism. So I know there's some crossover here. I know that I'm not explaining this exactly in the terms that I like. I'm trying to make a distinction here, and I'm using terms that are not quite what I want them to be. But I think that anybody who has a reasonable amount of intelligence can understand what I'm saying here. That there is a dogmatism and a belief system that is associated with the culture of atheism. I'm not talking about just the bare bones philosophical belief that there is no God, or the bare bones philosophical belief in agnosticism that you simply don't believe in a God, which is, whatever. There's a lot of people who don't believe in God explicitly, and they pretend that they're open, but they're not open. They don't want to believe in God because they believe that that's a hard reality to face, and it's really not a hard reality to face if you believe in God. There was a time when I was afraid to believe in God because I believed it was a hard reality to face. It's an easier reality to face that God does exist than God doesn't. Because if God doesn't exist, then your life is meaningless. You can't, you can make up your own ideal and say, well, this is what meaning is. But ultimately, you don't have any meaning. Your life is basically worthless if there is no God. What meaning do you have besides to try to be happy, right? And we know sociologically that chasing happiness just simply does not work for people, because your emotions, right? See, because you're serving your emotions go like this. It's not going to work. You're going to be, oh yeah, I have meaning when you're up here, and then you're down here, oh, I have no meaning. And eventually you're going to notice you're down here a lot. It's not going to work. And if you're making up your own meaning, then you don't have to really do anything. You see that this is what people use to escape. This is what people use to escape the reality that their lives need to have meaning. But you can't escape that reality. You need to have a purpose in life. You're designed to have a purpose in life. People are happiest when they have some kind of purpose in life. And if it's all about you, it's going to be an empty hole. It doesn't matter how rich or poor you are. It's an empty hole if it's only about you, if your life is only about you. But yes, so my conclusion is, yes, in a certain sense, atheism is a religion. But what I mean when I say atheism is a religion is the culture that comes along with subscribing to the belief that there is no God, or the culture that subscribes in the belief, or subscribes in that they have a lack of belief that there is God. So that's basically where I'm at with that. I will leave it open to comments again. I'm sure that there's maybe some things that don't quite line up that I said in other videos, but I'm talking about where I'm at now and how I'm looking at it now, and I think I see it in a better light than I've ever seen it before. I didn't try to be as polite on this one. I just tried to be blunt. Because you get you're polite to people, and then they just mock you. And so I don't need to be mocked by a bunch of atheists who refuse to be intellectually honest with me and say, you know what, we do have kind of a dogmatism. We do have kind of an orthodoxy of naturalism and universal common ancestry. Which, that's okay. I'm willing to discuss any of those topics with you. But I'm just putting out where I am now. Anyway, that's my video. That's my spiel about that. I'm sure it could have been better. It's not perfect, but I'm not a great articulator all the time. And sometimes, like, it just doesn't come to me the way I want it to. But this is the video I'm cutting for this. This is the take that I'm going to save. So, if you like my content, obviously like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, share, all that good stuff. And I hope you have a good day, whether you're an atheist or whether you're a believer in God, or if you're, whatever God you believe in. I hope you have a good day as a person. So, yep, thank you. Thank you for watching my video.